inspires people, successful individuals from various walks of life. They are less known heroes who believe in their dreams and have conviction to live their full potential. Idols, icons, innovators who care to live every moment on their own terms.
Hi everyone, wonderful to be in another show of Success Mantra. Today we have something really interesting doing phenomenal work in the space of training. She's running a company called Baanerjee, and this is into model mysteries, websites, leadership workshops, and whatnot. Interestingly, the person has been a journalist in her life earlier. So let's get to know more about this person who has been living life king size, if I may say so. So welcome Riti, welcome to the show Success Mantra.
Hey Sonali, pleasure to be with you on the show and seeing your previous episodes, glad to be a part of it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, especially in this time of pandemic, you could make it to our studio. I have this privilege of having you here. This is awesome.
Thank you so much.
So, Riti, I really want to know that what triggered this tremendous change from journalism. You came into murder mysteries and training and leadership development.
Sure, Sonali. Maybe would you also like to know why journalism in the
first place? Absolutely. Why journalism and why this transition from one
Sure. I never thought that I would be anything other than a journalist, frankly, because I was doing very well, loved my profession, was at its height when I jumped out. Okay. So, if you'd asked me when I was a young woman, I would never have believed that I would be in business. Really far from my mind. The move into journalism, I think, was largely inspired by a role model that I had, who was my own elder sister, who's much older than me, who was the first woman reporter on the field in Indian Express, Bangalore. And I was this small child, sitting on her desk, going to coffee with her and the reporters of, her paper. And then I, of course, loved writing and, speaking, public speaking. So I began writing right when I was in, college. Published a whole lot of articles in mainstream media, newspapers in those days. That was before the days of audiovisual journalism. So it was all print. So I wrote a whole lot of, did a lot of student journalism, ended up interviewing film stars, business people as a student. So it seemed like a very, spontaneous transition into journalism. I did a master's degree in communication and journalism.
Oh, wonderful.
And then there was no, as I said, there was only the print media. So I jumped straight into the print media. Worked, I think my first job was with Deccan Herald and one of its publications, which was, they were the leading newspaper in Bangalore in those days. So I've been a Bangalorean through and through all along. So from there on, it was a journey of 15 years with some of the really exciting, publications of India. I worked for the Illustrated Weekly, which everybody was very high profile and everybody loved in those days, under Riti MD. And tell your story to people who really, one felt at that point, needed to know. So it was really almost like India needs to know. In those days, we were all, I think, as journalists, we were much like crusaders who, quite unaware of any, influence of business on our work and our publications. Editorials had a certain sanctity and no business interests interfered with you. The glorious days of journalism. And then I had the privilege of being part of the onset of internet journalism in India. So I was with Rediff.com when they started, and suddenly it was exciting. You were, you had no limit on the space that you could, utilize, and you had direct engagement with your, readers, because people would post comments, they would come back to you, whereas in the old days of the print, it was a letter to the editor that you read 2 weeks later, which maybe somebody responded to your writing.
Sure.
So, around this time, when I was with Rediff, I designed a set of murder mysteries, which were great fun. Why murder mysteries? I think I was always a great fan of mystery stories. Even when I was a child, I think Enid Blyton's mystery stories, the five findouters and the famous five were my favorite.
And all of us, more on that literally, right?
Yeah, true. So I think somewhere, and even today, if you look at my list of movies I watch on a variety of platforms, they're all boringly thrillers. I mean, people say, don't you watch anything other than thrillers? I just don't. So I think it was that led me to design mysteries that groups of people could play, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 100 people. And part of probably the journey was that I had a young daughter at that time. With whom I used to play a lot of make-believe stories. She used to be Detective Inspector Amala. And I was a variety of criminal masterminds, with all kinds of crimes, including stealing dumbbells from a gym, because I've always been a gymmer. So one of the mysteries was, what if you come to the gym and somebody's stolen all your dumbbells, and Inspector Amla would come and solve this crime. So we had so much fun playing those games, and I loved mysteries so much that I thought it would be fun to actually design mysteries that people could play. So I did that. I designed mysteries that a group of people could play. And then we began selling them to corporates as team building exercises, team bonding tools. They were a great hit. So
I can imagine.
so that was, I guess, the jump. I designed mysteries. I was so excited by them. Initially, I thought that I would, sell the concept to maybe a training house. But it was such a new concept. We were the first in India. I think we would definitely be the first in Southeast Asia to use mysteries as a corporate exercise. The concept existed in UK and US, but not so much in the corporate space. There were, mystery castles and cruises, and mysteries were more performances to entertain people interactively in a program. So we were the first. So I think I could not even really communicate or convince any of the big training houses to pick up my concept. So I just went out on the market and started trying to promote them myself. Got a tremendous response. So then I branded my company, I called my company Riti's Murder Games, because I was arrogant enough as to think that there would be a whole lot of Me Too's coming in and companies who wanted to lookalikes. So I wanted to be the Xerox to the photocopy industry. So I said Riti's Murder Games. But it took years, I must say. I think it took 10 years for anybody else to start running murder mysteries. Today you see a lot of them in different formats. I mean, then we had escape rooms. So we developed team escape rooms. So now you have online escape rooms, you have online mysteries. So somewhere perhaps again I'm being arrogant, but I do believe that we largely spread awareness and created popularity. They popularized mysteries in these spaces.
Wonderful. I'm so excited because I'm what should I say? I binge on mystery stories, whether it's Sherlock Holmes or whether it's Mentalist. I don't know whether you've seen, I was totally addicted to it. And I'm also, but I'm still curious that why this transition. You were doing phenomenally well. You were working with, Times of India, Weekly, and all of these big names in the industry of journalism. Then why transition into, and so completely different training?
Absolutely. So I didn't even know there was something called corporate training when I designed mysteries. It was all kind of backwards. I think my whole life has been a story. So when I was a younger woman, I used to write short stories. And people used to ask me, typically they said the format of a story would be that you visualize an entire story and you write it and you know the end. Likewise, when I used to write presses in school, they would say you write a pressay for an essay and then you write your essay. I could never do that, Sonali. I always just needed to start somewhere. And then I went as the flow took me. So even when story or a mystery and with characters and character parts. And it was just as the characters evolved that the end logically evolved from it.
Wow.
So I think that's been my transition. I mean, I began writing mysteries, and then I never even thought of training. I just was so excited by mysteries that to me I had to follow the mystery of my own mysteries to the end. I had to.
It evolves on its own.
Yeah, I had to see where my mysterious journey took me.
Sure.
At first, I thought maybe I would be playing in the parties of the Vijay Mallya's and the Ambani's. That was my thought. But then I had no clue how to sell them. So then going the corporate route seemed simple. I mean, corporates, when I approached a couple of them, said, wow, games that people can play with our mysteries, come right in. So we began that way, and then it was just the excitement. I mean, how could I let go this exciting thing I had created? And then, so I just got swept into the excitement of it. I didn't know there was training. I approached corporates with this animal. I said, here is this animal, a mystery, and try one. And they said, so we just did mysteries for, company inductions, Nest Technologies, ITC Tech, a whole bunch of IT companies in the first year. And then people in HR said, hey, this is actually something called corporate training, and you should organize it. I mean, you can derive learning from it. So I think I learned a lot from my clients who said you can derive learning, then they said you can help teams organize themselves, you can help leaders, discover their skills.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So, I'm speechless at the kind of experiences you've had. And I'm actually curious to understand that you were a successful journalist, then you created a different genre of training, which your clients completely applauded and, took it up and ran in their offices. So what does really success mean to you in terms of life, in terms of profession, in terms of what it brings to you?
Sure. I was about to say, people ask you generally, what does success mean in general? And I always feel it's so subjective.
Absolutely.
Success is completely connected to the values you hold in life.
Sure.
So I think, what are the values I hold in life? So it's to me, this is a very existentialist question in a sense.
Sure.
I wonder what is the meaning of life while, right from when I was really small, Sonali. When I remember when I was 4 or 5, I used to actually become giddy with the thought of wondering, why was I born in this world? Who am I? Why am I me? Why am I not her or you? And I used to ask my mother this thought, and she would say, child, please grow up and find this out for yourself. A lot of Gyanis have tried to discover this, and they have their own journey. So I think success to me is still a part of the journey. If you ask me, am I a success today? I don't think so. I think most people who probably are on the quest for success are still looking for what success is. I think to me it would be, if I wonder why I'm alive today, if I try to examine what the meaning of this journey is, to me, for lack of finding a better solution, I would say to me it is happiness, it is contentment.
Very well said. Success is actually satisfaction and contentment, and also seeing other people around you really enjoying, being satisfied, enjoying whatever contributions that you're making in their life. So it's phenomenal. So also, what are the behaviors or traits or what you hold as a persona within you has really been instrumental in not only transitioning various careers, but also bringing success, defining success in your journey?
Otherwise, there is, I think mentors at every stage. I think I've been fortunate to have a variety of good bosses and mentors at every stage of journalism. In this career of mine, as a partner of corporates, many clients who I have come across, too many to name, who have, who once you see succeeding in life, you learn something from them, and then you keep going on. So I think I learned from everybody. I've learned a lot from my 24-year-old daughter, Amala. I think Gen Next and the generation now is so intelligent. I think they are.
I relate to that because this next generation. In fact, I keep telling my daughter that you are an inspiration to me. And she's like, seriously? Then some of the things that they do is so out of the box, and their commitment to what they really want to achieve is absolutely. This generation is awesome. So, I know personally that you're very dedicated as a, not only as a professional, but as a friend, as a fitness freak. And how did you manage to juggle so many things in life? Like on one side, you are there whenever, and I've heard from common friends that you're just there for them. They can even in their sleep, they know Riti is there. Yeah, so that's one thing I really admire about you. And also in profession, going from peak to peak, making things happen, and at the same time being fit, your aerobics and all of the various workouts that you do. How do you manage to juggle so many things so perfectly?
I wish I knew myself, Sonali. I think I get up each morning and the day just goes, and I've reached the end of it and I'm looking forward to the next day. I can't say I have a highly organized day. Of course, there are parts of it which are structured, not right now in this pandemic, but otherwise there are structured, meetings and workout sessions and, evenings with friends and so on. But otherwise, I think it's probably a basic restlessness. My family finds it most annoying, and so do some of my colleagues, that I'm not able to sit in one place and chill out unless it's evening. So I think it's a basic restlessness and a huge fear of missing out, FOMO as they call it. I just want to cram everything into life. I want to have be there for every friend who wants me. I want to not miss out on even one client. It causes me huge stress and anxiety if I, cannot, if I have to let go of even one client because I'm too busy or because we have, amount of bandwidth. So I think this makes me, fit it all in somehow.
Sure.
I don't know how successfully, but at least fit it all in. I hope reasonably successfully since I don't hear complaints. So,
so is it like, you're very disciplined and you're very perfectionist oriented, or how do you work it out?
Yeah, fair. I think I am a perfectionist, which I'm not quite sure is very popular with my team, especially. But I am a very perfectionist in my approach. I really do want to get it absolutely right. But I think I'm not. I think I am very disciplined. Pretty good at scaring myself off doing things more than anything else. Quite good at. I think I beat myself up a lot if I fail, and I beat myself up a lot if I can't do things. So I think I'm quite afraid of the devils in me, and I think the devils inside me keep me in control, I think.
Since you talk about failure, what is failure to you, and how do you really handle downfall?
Sonali, I think I'm very bad at handling failure in that I do two things. Number one, I beat myself up immensely when I fail. And number two, I just try to run away from the scene of the crime. So I do these two things, I think, at least mentally. And if I could, I would do it physically. So failure is something I find very hard to handle, and I tend to rely a lot on colleagues, on family to actually step in. I have a lot of people around me who firefight. My business partner, my family, my friends are helpful in kind of firefighting, and I think I handle it by trying to, it's very necessary for me to take away lessons, not necessarily that I learn those lessons perfectly and don't repeat failures. I'm not perfect, but I try to, avoid that. I think it's just that failure matters hugely to me, and to the extent that I'm sometimes paralyzed by it. as I hear complaints from colleagues that I'm practically paralyzed by it, and somebody else is
hard to believe though, because given the kind of personality that I see in you, it's like you're always on that high.
That's why probably I find it hard to face the lows. But I think failure or fear of failure has also driven me to step up to a lot of things. I physically stepped in front of people who are in situations of danger. So when it comes to that point, I find huge reserves of courage and step up if need be. So I don't know where that comes from. It's not planned, or I surprise myself.
So, you know, when you think about your childhood, is there anything where you feel that, okay, whether it's your parents, your teachers, somewhere they have kind of got this into you that you have to be a winner every single time?
I've introspected a lot on that. I have no answers. I think I had a mother who was a perfectionist. I went to a primary school which was highly competitive in terms of being very punitive and corporal if you were not, right on top. So maybe I learned fear or fear of failure and the desire to earn people's respect, maybe. But at the same time, I know people, my family, friends, who have come from exactly the same environment, who don't have those drivers. So at the end of the day, I've introspected, debated all this with my darling daughter, who's very different from me and who, is a fairly, not a very competitive person, and I'm so grateful for that. I think I have a feeling it's internal. And today I've learned to compete with myself.
Sure.
So the gym was a space where, all these, I think 20 plus years that I've enjoyed standing on a floor and the sheer aggression of trying to outperform people 10, 20 years younger than you, which seems futile. But
that's off to you.
But the question of whether you need that aggression to actually pump you to go through the day. So I think the pandemic has been a good exercise where I've learned to a little more to look at more positive drivers. I mean, of course, whatever works at the end of the day. I mean, if competition works for you and helps you be what you want to be, which is, I do want to be successful. So if that works, it works. But I'm now exploring other ways of being and competing with myself. And I try to push myself more. You're looking at the mirror and exercising and perfecting your postures rather than looking at that person who's 20 years younger.
Absolutely. Brilliant. When you look back in life, do you have any regrets? Would you have done something otherwise or differently?
Sure, Sonali. So there was just one time when I went through, practically a midlife crisis, an earlier than midlife kind of a crisis, where one of the things that I wanted to do when I was just out of college was do an MBA at one of the IIMs or SNRI, and I never, passed the exam. I got admission in other colleges, but then journalism beckoned. I got a seat in, the only and the best PG department in Bangalore University, and I just followed through. So somewhere, probably about 7, 8 years ago, after I'd begun my journey as a businesswoman, I did have a moment. I did have a moment of huge regret when I looked at had I done an MBA and been on a path of business right from then, from the beginning, would I have been far more, successful in terms of money, in terms of, financial achievement today? But that was a point where I also realized that it's never too late to do whatever you want to do. So I had a dear friend then who was with me and my daughter. The three of us were sitting in a restaurant. And the two of them turned around and told me, this little girl who was probably not even 18, turned around and said, you can do whatever you want to do. I mean, if you have regrets, please, you have time now, go do it. So then I took my business on to a far more aggressive path after that, that was when we went on to do, merged with another company out of Gurgaon, and we expanded what we do, and the expansion and the new company which does entire corporate events, the revenue simply not even quadrupled, but more than that exponentially. And then I threw myself with much more excitement in what I was doing. And today I do believe, I have friends who are in their late 50s, who are looking to retire or who are wondering whether they've achieved whatever. And there are people who are saying, oh, I really wanted to do this. Oh, I really wanted to do that. And today I am standing there and telling all of them, please do it. I mean, I think thinking that, when you're in your late 50s or in your early 60s is a time to retire is no longer valid, because Indian life expectancy has gone on to 90 plus.
Sure.
So I think one might as well be ready to reach one's optimal potential. I think the 60s and 70s, as you touch, those are when you should optimize yourself. So no regrets in terms of failure so far.
Yeah, so on a lighter note, I keep telling my children that, I might live till 100. So you have to digest all the excitement and enthusiasm that I bring every day.
Right.
True. So, did you finally get into IIM to complete your course?
No, I didn't. But no, I didn't. I was already in business by then. I was sure. I think 6-7 years into business. I just decided to approach my business with all the, zealousness of that I had, and I think I've learned a lot of business probably right on the floor. So no regrets today. I think I've learned my business lessons running a real business, and today my clients are asking me to share my journey with their managers. Which I feel is all over the place, Somewhere I felt that had I done an organized degree in business, maybe I would have had a business model and a planned path of growth. My path of growth has been, like I said, like a story. It's really just grown on its own. But I think the path forward will be a lot more structured after this.
Is it?
Seems to be so.
Yeah, so in fact, I really want to understand that in your mind, do you feel that qualifications or Harvard, IIM, Stanford, this is the only or a big criteria in terms of achieving success? Because we have seen people like Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, they've dropped out of the best universities, best colleges, and done something which has been their calling, right? And totally in a different mode. They were not trained in a business school, yet they went on to achieve great success. And so have you. And so what would you attribute this success to? Is it your kind of grooming as a child, or is it that personality you build over the years through interaction with the right friends or right community, right relatives and teachers came at the right moment and groomed you to this, or what was it?
Fair enough. To address the first part of your question, and I've heard other of your interviewees on Success Mantra address it too. And as many of them have said, I think an Ivy League college or whatever institution really only helps you initially to get the right entry point, right? Which is what many of your interviewees have said. So that's about all that it does. Other than that, any institution that really teaches you the skills you need, job skills, is good enough. I must say that the institutions I went to did not teach me any job skills. I really learned them on the job and learned them from inner drivers. I think who I was, whatever journey I have been on, is just personal drivers. And I think the friends you choose and the clientele you build up is also an expression of that. It doesn't, the world, the universe kind of throws things your way as according to what you are looking for, or as per where you are looking. So I think it's probably, I think it's mostly internal drivers that take people along. But there is, as I've told my daughter many times, and other young people more often, you really can't say that the exception is the rule. So you can't really say that a Steve Jobs or the Prime Minister of India, is the thumb rule that education does not matter, skills don't matter. If you have greatness in you, you will find it. So it's really a lottery. I think luck plays a huge role, and I wish we could all control our own destinies. I would like to believe that we are successful, that we are who we are because we control our destinies. But we really don't know.
So, and during this pandemic, what has been on your mind in terms of, like the challenges that we are facing? There is so much of uncertainty in the market, in the industry, and what's going on. So what's your take on it?
Well, my biggest take has, my biggest realization has been that, the real world, you and I are sitting across like this in a pandemic. We chose to meet, to be socially distanced, to take on precautions and to meet. And the warmth and the connect and the engagement we have is definitely could not have been recreated.
Progress towards the end. I have one controversial question that I really want to kind of longing to ask you. Who is your favorite journalist since you come from that space?
That's a really tough question. That's a really difficult question. I can because it spans so many generations. I can just
the current one. Somebody.
Current is my current favorite journalist is happens to be a cousin of mine. Is Srinivasan Jain of NDTV.
Okay.
Who I think really speaks the truth and is honest and is controversial. He's loved, he's hated, but I think he, at the end of the day, is very objective and true.
Not as hated as Arnab Goswami, right?
I hope so. I hope so.
I just, what I love about Arnab is that he's so candid and he's so passionate, and every time he speaks, he says India wants to know. So we really want to know.
That's true.
Absolutely.
No, that's
true. So, Riti, thank you so much for coming here and giving us these wonderful learning nuggets and experience that you have had, relating it to us, narrating it to us. What I would like to close this with is, what is your mantra or message in terms of success to our audience? How do you think that people can really lead a very happy, satisfied, like you said, success is satisfaction and contentment. How do you think we can make that happen?
Well, I would like to say to people, never stop dreaming. Never stop believing in your dreams, in yourself, in your ability to make your dreams come true. Of course, understandably, you also need to tailor your dreams to reality. So there was a time when I stood on, Hollywood Boulevard and wished that I had been born a white American film actress, and I looked at all those wonderful, homes and Rodeo Drive and said, why couldn't I have been here? And I looked at the White House and I said, I wish I could have been president of the US.
Wow.
So really good dream. But then I also told myself that, buddy, you can't, this is fantasy. Mm-hmm. This can't be a dream. So I think one has to distinguish between fantasy and dreams, and then have fairly achievable, realistic dreams, and then dream them and try to get there, and then when you do achieve your dreams, you feel the high that it gives you is really worth it. It's like climbing the highest peak, and then when you view a successful moment. Success doesn't come once or twice. It's a million moments of success in your life.
Every single day, moment to moment you can create success.
So if you can create success for yourself a million times, and then I like living life from one high to the other. As a mutual friend of ours once said to me, the roller coaster ride of life. So there's no point being afraid. I would like to tell young people particularly, a lot of people say, don't hit either the highs or the lows. live the middle path. I'm sorry, I think there is no excitement for life without the highs. And if you hit the lows, then so be it.
You bring yourself up.
Bring yourself up. So that would be my message. Please, the highs are worth it. So,
wonderful. So with that, Riti, thank you so much for being here. Very grateful that you could make it today for this show. And of course, all the things that you've said has been an eye-opener in many ways to me and of course the audience. Thank you so much. And that was Riti, dear friends, and who has been a journalist, who has been a trainer, who has been leading a training company, making a difference to society. And of course, her message to the world is success is peak to peak and never be scared to live it king size. Thank you.